So there you have it, that's the old box. It's kaput. You see the grindings are on the bottom of the box there, so this box is kaput. And now we have our donor box. The next step when we put this on, and that's our next step on our Astra H. Now the box back in, jacked up the place. I'm going to tighten the 3 top stubs here. Got your box back in. There you have it, that's your box back in now. And our next step, we'll put the cradle back in. I'll hook up the clutch pipe here. And it goes in here. The clutch on there, now we'll bleed the clutch in. Open the bleed screw and bleed the clutch. It's in full of oil. So we'll put on the cradle next, and we'll tighten up all the studs here on the gearbox where we put the cradle on. That's our next step, our Astra H gearbox replacement. So there you have it. That's our box back in. Now we've got all our studs back in there too. And a few pipes connect and a few wires connect the top there. And next step, and that's all done, we put in the cross member or our cradle. You can see how we took it out there. Everything off. And dropped it down nice and clean. And we tied up the steering rack there. And disconnected the gear rod here. Disconnect the anti-roll bar here, and the next step, all our studs on there on the gearbox here. We'll put the cradle back on last year. That'll be our next step. Now we attached our gear lever there on the bracket there. All our studs tightened up, so next step now we put in the cradle here again. I just set up an old 40-gallon drum there with a plank of wood. And we'll put the body of the car down and top it. And we'll hook up the anti-roll bar bushes first. So our next step now, we put the cradle back on again. That's our next operation. Now before we put the cradle up the whole way, I just tighten the 2 anti-roll bar bushes here. And you won't get them tightened unless you tighten them out. So tighten them first before the cradle goes up in. And line up the electric power steering motor. And line up the bracket there, and line up the steering rack, and you jack the cradle in nice and gently, and line up the radiator bracket as well. That's our next step. So our cradle back in, and we'll tighten the stud here, one up here. I'll just use the 2 steering rack bolts here to line her up when putting her back in, and one on this side just to line up the cradle. And tighten this one here, and one up here. So 4 tighten up now. We'll put the bracket on here, and center bolt, tighten it up. Then we'll put the 2 steering rack bolts in. They go up in here. We'll tighten up the steering rack, and we'll fairly well on in by then, and then we'll put on the 2 drives. And we shouldn't have much more to do after that. So it's a fairly time consuming job here, so a few mounts to go on then. The back mount and the front mount. And go to the next operation, that's that. So there you have it, that's our gearbox back in. And we've bled the clutch as well. Open the bleeder here and you pump the fluid up through here, and you open up the reservoir here cap. So instead of pumping the pedal, you use a little tool there to pump the fluid up through the cylinder and drop the opposite way. And that's how you bleed the clutch on this model. And we've taken off the oil filler here and put on our gear oil. And next step now, we put on the battery, and we'll put it all together now on this bed. The next step is the battery and battery tray, and then we'll take it for a wee test run. That'll be our next step on our OPEL Astra 1.4. So there you have it, that's our battery back in. And we test drove the car there, the car's going good. That concludes the OPEL Astra gearbox change.